Hello, hello. Anyone there? I see some people are here, so let's get started. Good Sunday afternoon, everyone. So glad you could join me here in my library, so to speak. I've got my Darth Vader helmet over there. Always up there. Darth Vader, always there. My books and my tea. This is where I do my thinking. So I thought it was a good place to do a little bit of talking and I'll tell my story, this week's story anyway. So let me just, before I get started, let me just say hello to everyone in the chat. I see Maureen. I see Ralph. I see Adam. I see Fancy Nancy. Thank you for joining. I see Patty. Nice to see you. Let's see. I see anybody else here? I see there's like 7 folks hanging out in the chat. I don't know if I got everyone here. If I didn't, I apologize. Really can't see the beginning of the chat. I am just, Tommy is here. Thank you for joining. Let's see. So I thought what I was going to do, Theen my man. Hello, how are you? So I figured, let's do these a little bit earlier when I do them. I think 6 o'clock is a little bit late. I think 4 o'clock is a better time for these. People are relaxing. They probably ate dinner or they're about to eat dinner maybe. I don't know. Most people eat dinner early on a Sunday. So I think it's a good time to just kick back and relax, especially on a Sunday like this where it's cold and rainy and gloomy. It's a good time to sit back, have a glass or a cup of tea, and hear a good story. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to kind of change the format of this a little bit in the sense that I'd like to try to do some type of like word of mouth story each time I do one of these things. I think the one that I have today is kind of interesting and it's very important and close to me because it has to deal with my grandfather. And I think you'll find it interesting, but plenty of us have these stories in our families or have heard other word of mouth stories about important times in history. And those stories don't always get spoken about, beyond the family. They don't really get documented anywhere. So a lot of people, and to me, they're the most interesting. Those stories are the most interesting. Yeah, there's probably a little bit of phone, the game telephone in there in the sense that as the stories are told, they're tweaked a little bit here and there, and maybe exaggerated a bit, but to me, they're the most interesting stories. So that's what I wanted to do today. So before I do that, though, I wanted to get our tea going here. As you can see, I have Nana's cups. Heating up my water right now. And the tea that I'm going to brew today is this. Purple Rain is what it's called. It's purple tea. Just Tea is the manufacturer. Got it off of Amazon. And this tea, if you could see that, it's multicolored. You can see that in there. There we go. There's a good shot of it. It's multicolored in purple. There's purple in there, and you'll see when I brew it how the tea color is purple. It's reddish. It comes from Africa. But I found that this is very relaxing tea. Now, in order to do this, you need to have a little bit of You need a little one of these, a little tea kettle here, and one of these, a spoon like this. So I'm going to take one of these spoonfuls of this, right? Throw it in there, right? And then I'm going to take my water, which didn't finish brewing yet, and I'm going to pour it in here and let it sit for a bit. That's how I'm going to brew it. So if anyone wants to try this, this is pretty cool. I like it. They also have different different flavors of purple tea. This one is all one, the purple rain flavor, but to me, it's very relaxing. Tastes good. You don't need to put anything in it. Straight, you drink it straight. All right, so pouring my boiled water in here. Now this kettle is going to get really hot. So you got to put it on a coaster or something like that. It's going to get really hot from the water, the boiling water. And you let it sit there for about 5 minutes. Let it brew for about 5 minutes long. Arm distance. I see you have joined. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. Paul C. Great to see you. I'm just using my glasses because I'm getting old. But who else? I don't know if I missed anyone else in the chat. A lot of people here. That's great. I'm so happy to see you guys. While that's brewing, I'm going to start my story. And I'll sit back, relax, and I hope you like it. So this story has to do with my grandfather, Frank Peter LaVista. And it happened during World War II. Now, before I get into the story, I'm going to tell you about a documented incident that you could look up on the internet. You could find it very easily. This story that I'm going to tell you is related to that story, but you can't find it anywhere. But it is related to this documented historical story. So if you get a chance, look it up. And if you're curious enough, look up something called Operation Pistorius. Now, what Operation Pistorius was a Nazi German plot to infiltrate America. That's right after Pearl Harbor, and to cause sabotage on the East Coast, primarily the East Coast. And if you look it up, there's a whole thing about it. Now, this took place in June of 1942. So Pearl Harbor is December 41. So this is 6 months later. And this plan by Nazi spies was signed off by Hitler himself. Hitler endorsed this plan. This wasn't just something that random people came up with. This was from the top of the Nazi high command. And the goal was to infiltrate America and cause as much problems, as possible. And a few of the targets were, the goal was to blow up and destroy targets. One of the targets was Niagara Falls, the electric grid in Niagara Falls. Another one was an aluminum plant in Philadelphia. And there were many targets. None of them happened, by the way. They were all foiled. None of them actually happened. One of them was to blow up Penn Station in Newark. And so that's the part of the story that I'm going to tell you another unknown story about. So 1942, June 17th, 1942, 4 German spies are dropped off on the beach of Amagansett Beach, Amagansett, Long Island. It's a town in Long Island. They come ashore from a U-boat, and they come onto the beach in the middle of the night, and they're carrying with them explosives and other stuff. And And what happens is they come onto the beach and begin to dig a hole or something to hide the explosive. So that was going to be there where they first put it there, and then they were going to use it and come back and do it. Well, what happens is while they're doing this, a serviceman by the name of Cullen, I think his name was John Cullen, yeah, John Cullen, comes across them on the beach. I think he was a Navy officer. So he comes across them while they're doing this, planting their stuff, and and three of them run off, and one of them he catches up to one of them, and the one person, and this guy, the one he catches, takes out a lot of money, and says, "Here, take this. Keep your mouth shut. We'll make it worth your while." So what Cullen does is Cullen takes the money and says, "Okay, I'll go along with this," and then immediately reports it. So the word got out instantly through whatever the system was that they were communicating during the war, that there were spies that infiltrated the beachhead. And eventually what happens is they actually catch every one of them before any damage happens. So that's the backstory, right? Now, the story that I'm going to tell you is related to that. And let's see how my tea is doing here. See if my tea is ready. See, that's hot. This is freaking hot. This is hot. This thing is hot. It's a Japanese kettle, and the entire thing gets really hot from the boiling water you put in it. So when you take the lid off, you got to be careful. But anyway, my story is about my father, Frank Peter LaVista, Italian immigrant, came here when he was 8 years old. Gets married, or gets drafted, I should say. He was about to get married. He was about to get married in June of 1942, and he actually does get married, but he gets drafted beforehand. So he gets drafted into the Army Air Corps. And now the issue with my grandfather was that he was not battle healthy. Like, he could not be brought into battle. And the reason is he had an accident during the 30s. He was at what they used to call the CC camps, which was a civilian conservation corps, which were these camps that Roosevelt set up for people to keep people employed, and they would work on civil projects, buildings. The stadium, we have a stadium in Belleville, New Jersey, that was built by the CC Corps, the Civilian Conservation Corps. So anyway, my grandfather was in that, and he had an accident where he got run over by a tractor. So his leg, he could walk, but that's all he could do. He couldn't run. He couldn't do anything because of the damage done by that accident on his leg. So when he was drafted, he never thought he'd get in. He thought he would have been a 4F. But at that time, look, it's the war. It's a world war. They're taking everybody they can. So they draft him anyway. But what they do is, because he couldn't do that, because he couldn't actually go into battle, they made him a military policeman. And that's what he ended up being for the rest of the war. He was a military policeman in the Army Air Corps. And he was stationed, he never got into Europe. He was stationed here on Fort Dix, New Jersey. And his primary job, and I'll show you, I'm going to show you, first of all, I'm going to show you a picture, because to get the full gist of this, you got to see the picture. Share my screen. Let's see what happens here. If I can do this. I've never done this. I've never done the sharing of the screen before. Wait a minute. It's not even working, of course. Let me see. That's not good. That's not what I want to share. I am not good with the sharing of the screen stuff here. But I do have, you know what I'm going to do instead? Hold on. I would love to show you this on the screen because it's already in the computer, but for some reason it will not come on, which is annoying the hell out of me. And while I'm doing this, Gina, nice. Thank you for joining. Nice to see you. Let's see. Paul, it's my grandfather, not my dad, but thank you. Yes. Thank you. It was my grandfather. Um, I'm still trying to share this screen, but it will not work. And that's probably because it's an iPhone, an iProduct. I'm on the Mac, and the Mac is giving me a problem as usual. What else is new? But anyway, here, this is what I'll do. I'll show you the picture here, because I have this picture here with me. Now, this is a picture of my grandfather. He is right here. This is my grandfather, right? This was during World War II, obviously. I'm getting a reflection here, which is annoying me, but whatever. This is when he was stationed at Fort Dix. And this guy over here was his partner. They were in the military police. I don't know his name. I wish I did. You know, these things, you know, life goes on and people pass away and you never get the information. I don't know what his name is. I would love to know what his name was. But anyway. And hold on. Let me look at what this tea looks like. We'll take a break from the story for a second. But here, let's see. Now, can you see this tea? This is purple tea. As you can see, it's red. Pretty cool. And I tell you, I know you're going to like it. You don't need any sugar. You don't need any milk. You don't need anything with it. It has its own unique taste. Very good. I like this a lot. But anyway, so now back to the story. So my grandfather's in the military police. And one of his jobs, aside from breaking up bar fights, doing stuff like that, you know, like the usual stuff that MPs do, was he was assigned to ride the trains on a daily basis, New Jersey Transit, and look for suspicious spy activity. That was his job. That was him and his partner's job. Now, they weren't undercover or anything, which to me was always interesting. They were in full military uniform, MP, helmet, and everything. So I guess they were more of a deterrent. I don't know. You would think that there would be people undercover. Maybe they had other people that were undercover in like plain clothes that could be better at finding out suspicious activity or, you know, uncovering stuff. But that was his job. So most of the time he did nothing, you know, other than ride out and didn't come across anything, just rode up and down the trains, did what he could do, you know. So that takes us to June 18th. June 18th, which is the day after this documented landing, which was June 17th. June 18th, he's on the train, as usual, riding up and down. And one of the things that they usually did on the train, and you'll probably see it today, and probably not much today because nobody uses newspapers anymore, but what would happen was people would read the newspaper. When they were done with it, they'd put it up, leave it on the seat when they were getting off, and someone else would pick it up and read it. So my grandfather never bought a newspaper. He would always wait for someone else to do that, and then he would take the newspaper. Well, a stop comes, Penn Station. The Penn Station stop comes, which was routine. Going through Penn Station, we'd go all the way up, go down to South Jersey, go up and down, up constant, back and forth. The station, this Penn Station stops. A gentleman gets up from his seat, folds up his newspaper, puts it down, and makes his way to the exit. So as this is going on, he's wearing a trench coat and a hat and et cetera, you know, like a normal 1940s guy you'd see, you know, a 1940s gentleman. And so my grandfather goes over to pick up the newspaper to read it like he would normally do, pick up another newspaper. As he's picking it up, something falls out of the newspaper. And what falls out of the newspaper is a lighter. Not a big deal. Well, everyone had lighters then. People were smoking on the trains. It was a totally different world, obviously. People smoked everywhere and did whatever they wanted to do, right? So it's pretty common. People would forget a lighter. So he sees the lighter. He picks up the lighter and he yells to the person. He yells to, "Sir, you forgot your lighter." The guy turns, looks at him, and bolts out the door of the train. Now, my grandfather, you know, this is kind of odd, right? Why would somebody do that? He looks at the lighter, and on the lighter is the insignia of a swastika in the shape, with the wings on it. If you ever see that a German a Nazi German swastika, like insignia. It's like the eagle, and in the circle in the middle there is a swastika in it. That's what was on the lighter, right? So who was going to be carrying a lighter with a swastika on it in 1942 in New Jersey? That's just a regular citizen. It's not going to happen, right? It's something's wrong. So him and his partner chase after the guy. And the guy's bolting through Penn Station, up the stairs to get out of Penn Station. They're chasing right behind him. Just as he's going to get to the front door, to get out of the door, he comes past an area of booths where there was people shining shoes, and which was very common in 1942. People would stop, gentlemen would stop, go sit on these chairs, and people would shine their shoes. Now, so this is going on. Men are there shining shoes. One of the shoe shiners, which happened to be a black guy, I don't know his name. Again, I wish I knew these people's names, sees this guy running up the stairs and sees two military policemen chasing after him. So what does this guy do? This guy turns around, takes his shine box, hurls it across the floor, and the guy trips over the shine box, goes flat onto the ground, and my grandfather and his partner grabbed the guy. And that's how they caught him. Now, they grabbed the guy. Now, the guy is in a panic, obviously, because something's not right here. And what does the guy do? The guy speaks perfect English. Didn't speak with a German accent, didn't do anything like that. Didn't seem foreign at all. Speak perfect English. He turns to my father and his partner and says, "Let me go, I'll make it worth your while." Much like we heard in the documented story of one of the spies that came aboard that was confronted by the sailor. So it said the same exact thing. Well, my grandfather wasn't that stupid. He wasn't going to do that. So they grab him, they hold him, and they arrest him, and they take him in. Now, what comes after that is just speculation, because that's all my grandfather was an MP. He wasn't anything special. He didn't have access to anything. But rumor has it, what happened was that when they brought that guy in, he had in his possession, he had these explosive caps, which were you'd use to detonate bombs. You'd detonate certain types of explosives. So this goes so now, and that's the extent of the story, so to speak, because the FBI came in and took that guy, and then my grandfather was never told anything again, which is not common in the military. You wouldn't be told anything in a situation like that if you're just a military cop. But what it turns out was, what I do know about it is that, at least what I was told, again, this is all a story that my grandfather told. There's no documentation of it anywhere. I've looked and I've tried to find if there was anything about it. Now, that guy was definitely not a spy from Germany, but what he was he was an American, a German American in Newark who was a sympathizer for the Nazis, which there were quite a number of them. And there's a book on it that you can read called Nazis in Newark. And it documents how powerful and how many Nazi sympathizers there were in Newark. The American Bund is what they used to call it, or the German-American Business League, which were two different organizations, but both were Nazi sympathizing organizations. And this guy was one of them. So there was a direct link between this guy, and the plots, because why else would he be carrying explosive detonators or whatever they were, caps to detonate, to do explode stuff. Because those people that came off were actual German resident or German members of the German military that came on board. They had to be helped by somebody. Once they got off of that beachhead, where would they go? What would they do? They had connections in America, and those connections were from the American Bund or the German American Business League, it was called. So it's just a crazy story that you don't hear much about. But if World War II interests you, take it, look into it. It's very, very interesting to me. I'm a history junkie and I love this kind of stuff. So to me, it's such a cool story to hear about. And my grandfather was a very modest man. He would never tell anybody anything about this to anyone outside of the family. This was just a family story of one of his experiences that he had. But exciting times to live in. It was so exciting. I always, growing up, I always thought that was the most exciting time. And I always looked up to my grandfather and that whole generation. I was just wowed by them. Such a powerful, strength-filled generation that survived so much and did it with class. Did it with class. Did it with honor. And we don't see that too much anymore. And to me, that's why I've always been a history junkie for the World War II era, etc. But so that's my story this Sunday afternoon. I hope you liked it. Something to think about. And I'm sure, like I said at the beginning, I'm sure everybody's family has some type of story that's really cool. And if anyone ever wants to share it, by all means, please let me know. I'd be happy to listen to it. Let me see what's going on in the chat. I'm sorry, I didn't watch the chat at all while I was doing my little speech there, my little storytelling this afternoon. Hi, Oliver Sutton. Hi, Bella Rose. See if anyone else here. Let's see if anyone else is in the chat here that I missed. If I did miss anybody, I sincerely apologize. But, I thank each and every one of you for joining. Big Bones, how you doing, buddy? I missed you. I'm sorry. I said hi to Paul C. So cool to see everybody here. Yeah, so that is my story on a rainy, cool Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna pour a little bit more of my tea. And Patty, I see you're talking about how your father was. You said your father was in the. Did he liberate concentration camps? Is that what it was? Is that how he ended up? He was one of the people that liberated the concentration camps. That must have been some sight. That must have been some horrible sight. Yeah, Big Bones, exactly. It's amazing what those people had survived and went through. And I think we're a weaker country because they're not around anymore. We're a weaker people because of it. Patty, yes, yeah, that must have been something, man. That must have been so traumatic to do that, to see those poor people and give them their freedom, but still see the conditions they were in. And I bet you he didn't talk about it much either, right? Right, Patty? I mean, from what I've heard, most of the guys that were in there didn't want to talk about it much, didn't want to tell stories at all about that. And hi, TT. Oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, so I'm drinking my Nana's cups. Nice, relaxing tea. I actually haven't even had dinner. Usually we have dinner by now, but we haven't because my son was working, so we held off. So I'm gonna have dinner. I'm gonna have dinner when I sign off from here. But so I don't know how if anybody else had any interesting stories that they have in their background. I don't expect you to put it in the chat. I was just curious if other people have stories like that. I mean, I had the benefit of growing up with my grandparents because we lived in a 2-family house. So I was always, they were always a part of my life from the day I was born. They were always there. And it was kind of like having 2 fathers and 2 mothers, so to speak, because they were always there. And because of that, I was influenced by them a lot. A lot of my mannerisms, a lot of my likes and desires come from them and their generation. And people say, why do you know about old movies? Because I used to watch old movies with them all the time. We used to watch Abbott and Costello all the time. We used to watch Laurel and Hardy all the time. We used to watch all those, the old Westerns with John Wayne, and we used to watch all of them, and I still watch them today. Wow, 17 people. That's so cool. Thank you guys. I didn't know. I didn't think there'd be that many people on a Sunday afternoon just checking in, but that's great to hear. Great to see. The tea is called purple tea. Yes, it's called. The manufacturer is Just Tea, but it is purple tea. This particular flavor or blend is called Purple Rain, but it's loose leaf purple tea. So the tea itself is purple. It's called purple tea. There's different types of purple tea though. I've seen that the last time I ordered this, I ordered like a value pack or a tasting pack. There were 3 levels of this. One was this level, which I liked the best. There was one that was called chocolate, and I forgot what the other one was. But there's different types of mixes they put together of the purple tea to make it taste differently. But I'm told that it has the highest antioxidants, the highest amount of antioxidants of any tea, purple tea. So check it out, and if you like it, why not? It's gonna help you. It's a healthy thing. I mean, my great uncles did. I had my Patty. I know my I had a great uncle Fred who served in Europe. I had Uncle Pat who served in the Pacific. That's another story. I have stories from him. I don't know. And my other great uncles too. I don't even know where they served, but they were in the military too. I mean, it was a time where everyone was basically in the military. TT, I can only find it on Amazon. That's where I order it. And it comes in a big thing. It comes in this big thing is filled with tea, right? And then you're only going to use to make a cup of tea. You're only going to use a spoonful like this. It comes with a spoon, a little carved out wooden spoon, and so it lasts quite a while. So it's try it. It's. I think you'll like it. I mean, that's my like it. It's. And for those of you who didn't see it before, I'll give you another shot at it. Here's what it looks like. It's reddish. It has like a reddish color to it. Adam, you're having yeah, black tea. I would assume black tea is the most common, and so that's what I would assume that you're drinking right now. I know, Patty, and I think you said before. Patty, you asked a question before about my world's smallest stuff. Those were my grandmother's. I don't know what their origin is. Honestly, I do not. They were left. She left them to me in a box. I remember when I was little, she used to keep them in a cabinet. She had like a cabinet that she would display them, but she used to collect those little things. A lot of them are pencil sharpeners, but some of them aren't. Some of them are just the thing itself. But they're all made out of metal or actually copper, because they kind of get like that after a while. They get that oxidation on them. So I know they're made out of some type of copper. It's really interesting, and I just share them in shorts. But yeah, I don't know where they come from. I wish I did. Like all these things, I wish I knew. A lot of times when you're young, you don't think about these things. You don't ask about questions for the origin of it. And then when you get older, you're stuck. And you're like, I don't know where this comes from. I don't know. I go through so many pictures that were left to me, and I don't even know who the people are in the pictures because I never really asked who they are. But now I'm curious. I'd like to know who they are, but that knowledge is gone. Where is it? Gone forever. So I think it's cool to share stories like this that I shared today, because now it'll be the year. If anyone wants to listen to it, someone's going to hear that story. Someone comes back and listens and shares it. That's pretty cool. We're spreading a bit of a tale around. And like I said, it's just word of mouth. I can't prove it, but that's what I was told happened. Yeah, yeah, it's that's the color of it. It's reddish. It's a reddish color. How many pieces, Big Bones? I don't know. I've never counted them. I'll probably do that. I haven't counted them, but it's a box about this high, right? And it was filled with them. And I just take them out one at a time. Take a video of them. They've been sitting in my basement for so many years. All right, everyone. Well, that's my story for this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you'll come back. And I'm going to try to have some more stories. I'm going to try to think of or try to remember some other stories, family stories, or stories I've heard that are not really out there. Like I said, word of mouth stories. I think that's a part of our culture that's great that we don't hear as much of. No, it's all about, what's in writing. But for so many years, stories were passed on by word of mouth without anything in writing. But now we have the opportunity to do it like this, record it somewhere. So, hi, Gianni. I don't even think I said hello to you. You're late, Gianni. But yeah, go back and listen to it. I think you'll like it. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story. But for everyone else, I want to say thank you as always for joining. Please press the like button, smash the like button, whatever they say. Share and subscribe if you haven't. I know you guys are subscribed. That's why you're here. But we say it anyway. Subscribe, share, all that stuff. Build the guild, like I always say. Build the guild, and let me see if anyone else. I don't know. I hope I did not miss anyone. I would not want to miss anyone. Oh, that would have been cool, Adam. Yeah, that would have been awesome. I mean, she did do that with these cups. That's how I know how old they are, because she wrote a note with them that said when they were purchased by her mother, in the 20s. That's how I know that they are 100 years old. But I wish, that would have been cool if she did that with the little furnitures, little miniatures. Oh, Mike F., good to see you, buddy. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, definitely rewind and watch. Watch it. It's a good story. It's interesting. I think you'll like it. But I'm gonna cut out now. 40 minutes in, it's good enough for a Sunday afternoon tea and a little word of mouth story from long ago. And I'm gonna go have some afternoon dinner actually myself. So I want to say thank you all for joining, and remember to build the guild. And I want to say thanks for listening. I hope everyone has a blessed Sunday, and check you out next time. Well, I'll check you out on Thursday. If you guys want to know, if you haven't seen it on my community page, just an advertisement for the wine tastings on Thursday, there are 3 bottles. I will taste whichever one you guys pick. I've got 7 votes already. I'm go there and vote. There's 3 different types of wine. One is Italian, one is American, and one is Austrian, which is kind of interesting. I really want to taste that. And I will do that, whether we pick it this week or not. I'll eventually taste it, but it's really cool. It's from Austria. Whoever heard of a red wine from Austria? It's kind of cool. So I really want to taste that and see what it tastes like, but don't let that influence what you choose. I will taste whatever you guys want this week. So go to the community page and vote. Vote for the one you want me to taste this Thursday. We'll get to all of them, but choose this one. I want to see how that goes. See if you guys pick something. Good interaction. But anyway, thank you all for being a part of my little talk this afternoon. This is turning into the 10 Italian goodbyes here. I've been saying that for how long now? I mean, I need Gerard with his Irish accent here. Where is he? No Gerard this afternoon. That's the problem. But you can't get into community. Wait, hold on. I was just about to sign off, but now I have to address something. Johnny says he can't get into community pages. Why? Why can't you? I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. Go to my page. On the top of the page, you'll see the different things. You'll see shorts, videos, community page. Like those are the tabs at the top of the page. You should be able to see it. I don't know why you wouldn't. I could see it on my phone. I could see it on everyone's, So check it out. Go back and do that. And if you for some reason you really can't, if you can't get into it, if you can't get into the community page for some odd reason, I did do a short. I put a short up about the 3 bottles anyway. So, and then I don't know, maybe tomorrow or Tuesday, maybe Tuesday, after Tuesday, I'll close the poll down, so to speak, and we'll announce which one I'm going to do on Thursday. Yeah, and Johnny, maybe it's your phone, I don't know, but the laptop you should definitely see it on the laptop. So, when you get a chance, check that out, and you could actually vote through the thing, or but you could see the 3 in the short I did, and then you'll find out ultimately what we do. But this time for good, I'm saying goodbye. Have a great afternoon. Have a great Sunday. Have a great week ahead. I will see you guys in the chats. Thanks again. Build the Guild, signing out.